because that type of thinking attempts to assign everything that is physically outside the church building as not Jesus, but these not Jesus just instantly become a Jesus what are necessary to make the pastor sound better on stage. Literally, for example, a Stratocaster guitar under these thinkings is necessarily not Jesus, and an Ibanez guitar may also not be Jesus. But if the bass player and the worship team buys one, all of a sudden the Ibanez guitar, which is approved by Jesus, because the pastor basically does this, and suddenly this thing is now Jesus approved. Not by some Bible teaching, but rather by the pastor saying, like he's pretending to be the Pope. Here's the problem, because that's invalid simply if you look at electrical wiring. I'm not going to go past there because brain people can figure it out, and almost no pastor can. The solution to that really is to try to say that God does not exist outside a rectangular church sanctuary. However, that rectangular church sanctuary may not contain food because it's not allowed in the sanctuary of God. So basically, that is trying to say that, everybody's a sinner. Oh, guess what? Now it's a thug war. So obviously, none of that. None of that can possibly be what the Bible says. It means that those people don't understand. Or people who don't understand do not define any reality for anyone else. The evangelical church argument is basically this. 1. No one is allowed to disagree with the pastor. 2. The pastor does not need to agree with reality. 3. All technology must willingly bend to the pastor's desires, and there may not be technology that may say no, because nothing's allowed to disagree with the pastor. Another version of that is no one may litigate against a church that is saying crap. The largest part of it is basically there are a lot of people who try to say, at least in the evangelical church, that try to say that pastors represent God, and therefore disagreeing with the pastor is to disagree with God, and that the pastor somehow has this God magic that causes God to change whenever the pastor says something, whether or not that's even compatible with the idea of the Bible. A very outrageous example of this is when somebody tried to say that, around the year 2023, they were saying this about 10 years ago, he tried to say that around the year 2023, Jesus would come and basically mount this military campaign in which millions of people in Asia would die. And then they got upset when that didn't happen. And then for a while they were running a thing in that reality is not correct because there's no death of people who actually might form a more honest Christian church, because, as I said before, you're not allowed to disagree with the pastor. And the pastor says that Asia must be against God, and then has a problem when that is not the case. It has a bigger problem in that police are telling him to stop, and then the police actually move in. Now what he's going to do? Oh no, God, and then basically starts taking the drugs again. It's basically that type of crap, or various versions of it. This device is fully compatible with really most of the people who attend these evangelical churches. As to the thing, basically plays an audio recording of Bible verses or Bible teaching. You have a problem there because it's very common for couples to hold each other while one reads the Bible. In evangelical churches. Well, this now awards that pleasure to people who are not married, and frankly is now a very effective thing. I guess something which the church openly condemns and rightly condemns, which is fornication. And then the arguments they make for that, like, oh, now you're like a doll. Yeah, the arguments they make for that make absolutely no sense. Because you have a problem there, because those same people try to make arguments against Barbie dolls, and we all know where that goes. They say that's sufficient because any biblical explanation requires understanding of the Bible, and that's not allowed in dealing with congregations. They are dealing with people who are teaching incorrect about the Bible. So I'm done there. Any further explanation would legally remove the authority of the pastor, but I already did that just using common sense, please. And bravery. What some people try to say then is basically using a solution that's quote unquote not Jesus. Of course, you have a problem there because that type of thinking attempts to assign everything that is physically outside the church building as not Jesus, but these not Jesus just instantly become a Jesus when they're necessary to make the pastor sound better on stage. Literally, for example, a Stratocaster guitar under these thinkings is necessarily not Jesus, and an Ibanez guitar may also not be Jesus. But if the bass player and the worship team buys one, all of a sudden the Ibanez guitar, which is approved by Jesus, because the pastor basically does this, and suddenly this thing is now Jesus approved. Not by some Bible teaching, but rather by the pastor saying, like he's pretending he's a pope. Here's the problem, because you have a problem there, because that's invalid simply if you look at electrical wiring. I'm not going to go past there because brain people can figure it out, and almost no pastor can. The solution to that really is to try to say that God does not exist outside a rectangular church sanctuary. However, that rectangular church sanctuary may not contain food because it's not allowed in the sanctuary of God. So basically, that is trying to say that everybody's a sinner. Oh, guess what? Now it's a thug war. So obviously, none of that can possibly be what the Bible says. It means that those people don't understand. Or people who don't understand do not define any reality for anyone else. Please. Everybody knows that. PsychCon has been omitted for reasons, please. I was asked to add that most of these operations also try to say the following. These are the main ones. One, quote, all anime is against God. Basically defining anything related to anime as against God. The problem is that is easily extended to include all of existence. Given that invalidates an entire school of thinking, it's invalid. The next argument they try to make is that it's not possible to understand the Bible, so therefore the only way to follow Jesus is to become a slave to whatever nonsense someone is saying. The problem is that it generalizes to say that any teaching is correct. I'm going to stop there because everybody knows where we're going to go next. Exactly, it's the H word. Please. A previous explanation that now is no longer allowed is basically that not following a method will cause one to go into the fires of hell, and that being defined as a combination of, burning pain. I was one of the unfortunate people who actually attempted to analyze what a certain foolish person was saying back in the 90s. Basically, the problem is that person was working under coercion of a military department. Basically, as a teenager, I actually connected a teaching about the so-called lust of the flesh. I came to this conclusion, which actually required God Himself actually appear before me explain it, because it was a logical stop. It was this. 1. Commission of sin, especially quote-unquote sexual sin, results in a pain that might be akin to being locked inside a barbecue grill. Oh, I have to stop because it's so macabre that no one wants to hear the rest of it. Please. Said that crap to a 15-year-old child. I was making a video game that had AI in it. Yeah, they were very concerned about something there. They were very concerned about something. They really were. They lie about the release of a lot of anime today to attempt to, make certain types of propaganda post a certain military coercion that was occurring during the 90s. Basically, it is this. There was a lot of Japanese animation produced during the 90s which depicted sexual marriage relationships with a type of android. Basically, what these things did is they took the error that occurred in a certain episode of Star Trek where Data created basically this female android, which basically immediately stopped working. Why? That was necessary for the format of miniseries. The reason why here's the thing, the real reason the android, the female android that Data made could not continue working was because that would materially change the format of Star Trek. Of course, they couldn't do that without starting a completely new series, and it was not time for that. Have a problem there because this is where there's more misunderstanding, because the thing is, types of female quote-unquote androids such as the Bajoran and certain types of female Klingon do represent a type of correct female android which is explored in depth in that series and is well understood by those who actually appreciate it. However, you have a problem that many people in the military at that time basically had a problem there. It was a combination of basically what might be called American condom policy. I was asked to stop at the word condom for the following reasons. 1. Condoms do not represent an ultimate sex goal, please. 2. Condoms, of course, point to a large coercion. 3. Condoms make no sense when researching sexes that does not result in pregnancy. Please. Finally, 4, the idea that people can't understand certain things is not allowed. Please. Finally, I was asked to say this. Using the Star Trek typing, the Sakura dolls, the Ryoko dolls depicted here are Bajoran. They actually are.